Hey everybody, I am here with Terez Amato. She's a candidate for State Senate District 6, which includes South and West Maui. We're just going to talk story for a little bit. Thanks for joining us, Terez.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, can you just tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure.
What are your ties to Maui? Why are you running for office?
So I grew up here on Maui and I raised my 4 kids here as a single parent. Maui is the only home I've ever known, so to say I care deeply about our community would probably be an understatement. I'm deeply rooted and invested.
I saw on your website that you've done work with a lot of community organizations. What are some highlights of that? What have you learned through working with community members?
What I have learned is that we need more accountability at the government level, quite frankly. A lot of our community organizations are hitting their head against the wall, you know? They spend their time trying to lobby our lawmakers, and then our lawmakers just slam the door or lock the door on them. That's not okay. That needs to change.
So yeah, I even see that on your little pin there. It says
Not for sale.
right?
Yes.
And a big part of your platform is for the people as opposed to corporations, as opposed to lobbyists. What do you think are some ways that they've infiltrated our system, and how you want to change that?
Well, for far too long, secret deals with corporations behind closed doors have hijacked our political system. So my goal is to, first, I don't accept any money from corporations or lobbyists. That way the people always know I'm working for them. And number 2, I actually want to install web cameras in my Senate office so that the community can tune in and actually participate in any meetings that occur in my office.
Right.
No backroom deals on my watch. Not going to happen.
So you're running against Roz Baker.
Yes.
And she has been in office for many years. Why do you think now is the time for change? Why do you think you're the right person for that change?
It's time for change because for far too long, you know, she's made these deals that have not benefited the people of Maui. And it's time to make a change and then pave the way for the next generation. Politics is not supposed to be a career. It'll never be my long-term career. My goal is to get in there, make changes, and bring in the next generation, help foster them so they can continue the work.
All right. What would you say are 3 issues that you would like to bring change to?
Well, you may have heard that I had a stroke back at the end of 2016. So I got an interesting, intimate perspective of our hospital and what's going on there. My opponent likes to brag that she helped broker the deal between Kaiser and the hospital, but right now, I've got doctors and nurses that are all approaching me, telling me that it's dangerous, that the hospital is at about 50% staffing right now. That's not okay for patients or care providers. So that's one issue that needs to be fixed right away.
Right.
People's lives are at stake. Other issues, you know, we've got houselessness growing, and we can increase revenue and lower taxes for our residents by taxing non-resident investors. It's time to make it so that the people that live here can afford to live here.
Yeah. And something that does affect South Maui is Monsanto, the presence of agrochemical corporations, and you know, recently this last session, the chlorpyrifos ban passed, although it won't take an effect for a while.
Another 4 years.
Yes. Do you support further regulation, and what would that entail?
Absolutely. I have to say, we shouldn't have to beg our elected leaders for common sense legislation that protects our children. And spraying poison 100 feet away from our schools is downright dangerous and not okay. So 3095 was a great start. You know, kudos to all of the volunteers who have worked so hard on that. I've also been a part of that fight. So that's a nice start, but it's not enough. We can do much better. And yeah, 4 years to wait for a neurotoxin ban of chlorpyrifos, that's unacceptable. That means that for the next 4 years, they can spray as much poison as they want.
Right. And you know, another big concern that we hear regularly is the cost of living here in Hawaii. What ideas do you have to support working people and families here?
So, as I started to say, we can raise revenue and lower our taxes by taxing non-resident investors. As an example, the Grand Wailea Hotel that was recently sold for $1.1 billion and donates heavily to my opponent, they are taxed at only a third of that rate. It's time to start taxing them at their actual use. Right now, Maui generates most of the TAT, yet Oahu gets to collect it all and then give us back a little pittance. It's time to change. It's time to bring that money home.
Do you support raising the minimum wage?
Absolutely. Here in Hawaii, $15 an hour is not enough. We need a living wage. So yes, absolutely.
And also, I noticed in Governor Ige's veto list, one of the things that was vetoed is a provision to expand medical marijuana. How do you feel about medical marijuana and even recreational?
Well, you know, we are losing out on at least $100 million a year in revenue by just taxing not visitors for if we were to legalize. It's time to legalize marijuana. We can tax the visitors, generate about $100 million in revenue a year, just as a starting point.
Yeah.
And that money can be used for our schools, for our unsheltered, for all kinds of people in our community and all of our programs.
Okay, a final question, Terez.
Yes.
Who is your hero, political or otherwise? Who is your role model? Who is somebody you look up to?
I would have to say Bernie Sanders.
Oh, all right.
And so I was super honored to be a national delegate for Bernie in 2016. We tried to make some changes in Philadelphia. We tried to stop. We could kind of foresee where we were going. Unfortunately, they kind of squashed us and didn't allow us, but we did our best. And Bernie's message to us at breakfast was go home and make changes at the local level. So that's
Right.
what we're doing.
Okay, well, thank you for talking story with us today, Terez.
Thank you so much.
Please remember to vote in the primary August 11th, the general election November 6th.